Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Fast Flag Facts with John, the show where we look at history and culture through the lens of flags from around the world. I hope you enjoyed last week's departure into the world of pirates with the Jolly Roger. This week we are continuing the October trend of strange, bizarre, or spooky flags with the flag of the island of Sicily. Now, both the flag and the symbology on the flag are quite ancient for this symbol, and as such there is not really a who involved. It's impossible to credit a single person. The Sicilian Regional Assembly, essentially the Parliament of Sicily, introduced the modern flag in 1990, and later on in the year 2000 they adopted it officially. And so I suppose if we're going to credit any people, it should be them. A man named Salvatore Loricella was the president of the Sicilian Assembly at the time, so if we need to give credit to a single person, I suppose it should be him. Salvatore lived from 1922 until 1996. He was a lifelong politician in Sicily and in Italy, and he actually comes from a long line of politicians. He was a founding member of the left-leaning Italian socialist movement, and probably the most interesting thing about him is that he got into politics at a very young age, and he was the mayor of a town in Italy at the age of 24. I'm not sure whether it became an ice town situation or not. So what is on the flag? It is a diagonal bicolor of red and yellow featuring a Triskelius symbol and also a Medusa head or a Gorgon head, some wings, and also 3 ears of wheat. The wheat represents the fertility of Sicily as well as one of their crops. The Triskelion symbol is said to represent the 3 capes of the island: Cape Peloro, Cape Pechinus, and Cape Lilibeo. These 3 corners are also how Sicily was originally divided. It historically was a 3 regions of government. The yellow represents the city of Corleone, and the red represents the city of Palermo. These are 2 cities on the island, and they were 2 cities that started the revolution known as the Sicilian Vesper Revolution. We're going to talk about that more in a second. As I said at the beginning of this video, the symbology and the flag are both quite ancient. The Triskelius sign with a Gorgon head on top of it is a very ancient symbol dating back at least to the year 400 BC in the city of Syracuse, not Syracuse, New York. Now, Gorgons, or Medusas, were very popular around this time on their own, and one was actually added on top of a temple dedicated to the god Apollo in Syracuse around the same time. So the Triskelius, meaning a symbol of Sicily, dates to at least the year 400 BC. The name of the island in ancient times was actually Trinacria, which means the land of the 3 capes. Eventually, the Triskelius sign actually became synonymous with the word Trinacria. So this symbol can either be called a Triskelius or a Trinacria. Now, the Triskelius symbol is even older than that. It originally started as 3 spirals. It was very popular in ancient Greece. It's a Grecian symbol originally, and eventually it evolved from 3 spirals into 3 legs. There are examples of Greek pots dating to about 600 BC with the 3-legged Triskelius symbol on it. Now, the meaning of the Triskelius and the Gorgon head were never recorded directly, so no one actually definitively knows what these things are supposed to represent. Modern scholarship dating to the mid-1800s and more recently indicates that it's some sort of a concept supposed to highlight the idea of a triple goddess or a divine triad, which is quite interesting because Christianity also has the idea of the divine trinity, although this is apparently a feminine symbol as opposed to the somewhat masculine symbology of Christianity. Now, the idea of a Sicilian flag or a banner representing the people of Sicily dates back to the Vesper Rebellion of 1282. This is basically the first time that the people of Sicily decided to take a stand and say, we do not want to be ruled by an outside body, we want to be independent. And so they have a banner. Now, no one knows exactly what was on that early banner, although it probably was similar to what we see on the modern day. Certain aspects were eventually added later. We know that the wings on the head of the Gorgon were added in the year 1848. The red and the yellow colors are a little bit more recent on the flag itself. dating back to the year 1943 during a different separatist movement led by a person named Andrea Finicario Aprile. The ears of wheat or corn were added most recently to the trinacria, also around the 1940s or the 1950s. Now, the modern version that combines all of the elements that we see on the current flag was first premiered on a banner at the Sicilian Regional Assembly of 1990. It took about 10 years of the banner being used in daily life around the island for it to become officially adopted as the flag of Sicily. This was in the year 2000 on January 4th. Where can you see this flag? Basically just in Sicily. For those of you who do not know, Sicily is a fiercely independent island in the Mediterranean. As of the recording of this video, Sicily is part of Italy, although they are considered an autonomous region. Over the last 800 years, they have had many separatist movements or independent movements. Some have been successful, and they have been an independent nation or independent state at different times in their history. Others have failed. Most Americans probably know Sicily best as being the place where the Godfather from the Godfather movies and book series is from, Vito Corleone, and also Sophia Petrillo is from Sicily. The reason I wanted to do this flag is because it's really weird looking. It's kind of creepy. The longer that you look at the Medusa, it starts to look like it is looking back at you. And also, it's one of those flags that is simultaneously very ancient, at least 2,000 years old, and also somewhat new, having only been an official flag for about 20 years. It's also a flag that continues to be researched as more and more ancient Greek and Roman pottery is dug up with this triskelion symbol. Scientists and archaeologists are learning more about the origins of this symbology. So once again, similar to the Amsterdam flag, we have symbology that is actually so old and so tied to the people of this region that the original meaning may have been lost, and now it is simply a symbol for the place. And I think that is kind of cool. All right, everybody, that does it for this week's episode of Fast Flag Facts with John. As always, I will ask you to like and subscribe to this channel. Next week, we are wrapping up our October with a flag that is perhaps not so scary. However, it is a little bit bizarre. Did you know that the planet of Mars has an official flag?